Hi everyone, Stepan here. Today I'm going to play a training game in the Moscow system of the Grünfeld. As I said 2 days ago, every day I will be recording one theoretical video, and every day I'm going to play a patron in a training game in the exact same variation. I feel that is going to improve your understanding of the opening, mine as well, and give a bit more in-depth look into the opening when you see it in real play. And you are going to get experiences firsthand. I hope that's going to be useful. If you would like to play me in a variation I am recording, I have published the recording schedule on Patreon. If you decide to support me, I will be really thankful, and we can arrange a training game. Okay, today I'm playing Semyon. He is higher rated than me here. I'm going to have the black pieces, and I'm going to play the defending side of the Moscow system in the Grünfeld. So as you can see, Semyon still has a provisional rating of 2200, so I'm not sure what his real strength is. Let me just say hello and good luck. And we have arranged to play the the Russian system in the Grünfeld. So we are starting from move 5 basically. I almost played d5. We are starting from move 5, so from the move queen to b3. You can find the video on the theory in the Russian system against the Grünfeld on the channel. I have posted it today. So, we are yet to see what happens in this game. I'm not sure which variation he will go for. I'm not even sure which variation I will go for. To be honest, now he's saying, what is the next move? What? Ah, okay, he's joking. Okay. I was hoping he's joking. Okay, g6. Yeah, as I said, I think it will be useful to have a training game in the variation that I'm recording that day, because that way you can see what the variation is like firsthand, not just theoretical lines, but actual play, middle games and end games. So we are playing the Russian system, which starts after knight f3 and queen b3, so the 3 knights against the Grünfeld. And here, after black plays the move bishop g7, now, white plays the move queen b3. And we have a rather forcing sequence of moves after d takes c4, queen takes c4, and castles. So d takes c. This is now the Russian system, and the point of the queen being on b3, white wants to put pressure on the center, or let's say expand the center easier with the queen's help. And white's aim is to play the move e4 as soon as possible. Okay, so now we start playing. The main move here and the only move here is bishop g7. And after queen b3, the only move is d takes c4. Queen takes c4, and now after queen takes c4, black castles. After castles, there are some interesting options for white, but they are not popular. e4 is the main move by far, played thousands of times. All the other lines are played quite seldom. One move that I would like to point out is bishop f4. Yeah, he doesn't go for that, but bishop f4 is an interesting line, which does continue with e4 on the next move, but it's slightly different. Okay, so now we have the main branching of ways in this position. Black's main move here is the Hungarian defense with a6, aiming for a quick b5. Two other common moves are knight a6 and knight c6, and the fourth option, the fourth sideline, the third sideline, is the move bishop g4. Now, I have been playing the Grünfeld for a year in my tournament play, and I hated facing the Russian system. And I used to play the move a6, and I think I'm going to play the move bishop g4 now, because I like the idea of bishop g4. And I'm not sure if Semyon knows the move bishop g4. He should know it, since he plays d4 and the Russian system as white. But we are going to see what he does against this. The main move here is bishop e3. That's the only move. I'm not threatening to take on f3. And after bishop e3, he is trying to play the move e5. That's basically the point. And He could try something like bishop e2. That's the second logical move. Now, one thing I would like to point out, as you can see in the theoretical video on the I always keep saying the Moscow, the Russian system, black has a lead in development on the king side, and black has already castled. And now he wrote in the chat Smyslov variation, so he knows it. Okay. We'll see what happens. So obviously he is higher rated than me, at least his provisional rating. Although, as I've seen on his lichess profile, he has won on all the games so far in classical. So then he should know that bishop e3 is the main move. So yeah, if you would like to play a game against me, please let me know. Okay, now, there is an interesting line here which starts with knight b to d7. The main theoretical move is knight f to d7, and you do that because you don't want to allow an easy e5. The second reason why you do this is you want to transfer your knight to b6. Now, knight b to d7 is also an interesting move because firstly you can get your other knight to b6 if queen b3 is played, which is a common move in these variations. And secondly, after knight b to d7, e5 doesn't really work because I have to move bishop e6, chasing the queen away to b3, and then I can play knight to b6. No, I'm sorry, it's not that. Knight b to d7, e5, knight b6, chasing the queen away to b3, and then bishop e6, followed by knight f to d5. So I'm not sure which one I want to play. Knight f to d7 is the theoretical move, and it also does open up the bishop, so I'm going to play that. I want to play the theoretical move, even though I have started exploring knight b to d7, and I like the variation. Now, the problem here for black is that my knight from b8 really has to come to c6, and I'm going to have sort of Alekhine defense knights. So now he is attacking my b7 pawn. There's no other move than knight b6. This is the point of the variation. And now knight c6 is going to be my next move. He is going to play the move d5, and then my knight is coming to e5. It's defended by the bishop. Now the main move here is rook d1 for white. That's the main developing move, and he knows the variation, which is not surprising because we have arranged the training game in the Russian system, and he's probably prepared everything. So I'm quite afraid here. I'm just going to continue playing theoretical moves. Now d5 knight e5 is what should be played. He could try bishop e2, but I think the expansion with d5 is necessary now because otherwise I can get the move e6 in which case in which case I can lose my bishop. I need to be careful. Because my bishop doesn't have a retreat square, I would have to take on f3, which is fine, but... Okay, so he does go for the main line, knight e5. Now he has to play bishop e2. And I trade everything off on f3. A lot of theory being played here. Okay, I trade everything off now. He should take with the bishop. But if he takes with the pawn, I'm going to play bishop h5, which is a common maneuver here. Okay, bishop h5. You want to keep your bishop on the h file to stop h4, h5. Now his next move should be rook g1. And my next idea is to undermine the center Grünfeld fashion. Finally now getting into the Grünfeld stuff. Now if rook g1, I play queen c8 to make c6 possible. And I need to start undermining his structure. Although queen c8, c6, Yeah, he cannot take on b6. Now, okay, the thing is, rook g1, queen c8. The main move is rook g3, and then c6. If he takes my knight, I'm going to take. If he takes with the queen, I can take on d5, e takes d5, and then bishop takes c3, b takes c3, queen takes c3. I win my pawn back. Okay, he does know everything, it seems. This is going to be a fun battle. Okay, I know what I want to do. I'm not going to think too much. Queen c8, follow it up with c6, and play on from there. I am threatening queen h3 also, so rook g3 is necessary. If I get in queen h3, his h2 pawn is hanging and his f3 pawn is hanging. Although queen h3, rook g3, yeah, okay, he knows everything. That's unpleasant. I'm just going to play quickly because I know what to do here. c6. Undermine his structure. So let me know what you think about this concept. One theoretical video and one training game in the variation I was analyzing. Let me know if there is a way to improve that. And let me know if the time control is okay. I figured that a 30-minute game is going to be serious enough. Okay. He plays a4 immediately. Okay. He says now I'm out of book. I'm close to being out of book myself, I have to admit. I believe knight d7 is the move here. I'm just trying to figure out the position. Knight d7, if he takes on c6, I have to take with the pawn, otherwise bishop b5 wins my knight. Knight d7. Other candidate moves rook f to d8 or rook d8, c takes d, knight takes d, knight takes d, c takes d, rook takes d, cannot happen, c takes d, a5, c takes d, a5 is probably why knight d7 is played first. I kind of like c takes d though. It seems kind of loose, but I don't want to get my pawns isolated. I want pressure along the c file on his knight. He's also threatening to take on b6 now. Okay, knight d7. I'm staring at the e5 square. I would like to play c5 if I'm allowed, if he doesn't take. And if he takes, c takes, I have rook b8, which is dangerous, undermining the knight with rook takes b2. Yeah, once again, thank you for all the advice about my laptop. It's making noises now, and this is going to be a long game, so I hope it does well. But it's much better since I've cleaned it, and I had a friend fix everything he could. And I'm making a list of potential purchases, so I sort of have an idea of what I want to buy. Okay, it's move 16, and I think we are still following main line theory. I don't think the position is dangerous for black at all. My main advantage here is that I have more active bishops. I don't really think I want to trade on d5 now. I think I want to play c5 and follow it up with a6 and b5 if I'm allowed. I want to get my knight into e5 and then meet f4 with probably bishop takes bishop, although that seems unsafe, although he could play f4 now, in which case I have to take the bishop anyway. So yeah, I guess we are out of our prep now. So this is now the Russian system middle game in the Grünfeld, in the Smyslov variation. I didn't want to play a6, which is the main line. I figured he would know it well, but apparently he knows this well. Knight a6, I'm a fan of if after c5 white doesn't know what he's doing and he takes the pawn. But if he knows what he's doing and plays d5, I'm not that happy. I like the Grünfeld, actually. I might start playing it again. I like this position for black. It's tricky, it's imbalanced, I have a structural advantage, my bishops are better, I have a weakness on e5 to exploit, although f4 can get rid of that. I have a potential for c5 and queenside pawn majority. By the way, yesterday evening I played a training game in the Twitter chess tournament, which I'm participating in, and I won in the Tarrasch French in 20 moves. I couldn't record the game because I was partially playing on my phone and then came to my laptop, but I will try to record the remaining games of the Twitter chess tournament if I can. He's thinking for a long time. I don't think d takes c is a good move. It gets rid of his center and it allows my rook to have the b file. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this position. The point of these videos is that I would like to engage you in a debate about the opening. Which side do you think is better? And ideally, the variation that we end up playing in the video should be what you know best after watching both the theoretical video and the game. And obviously, it's what I know best because I choose to play it and what I like most. So you can also in these training videos see my recommendations for the variation I choose. So against the Russian system, I chose the move bishop g4 because I have this structural advantage with his doubled f-pawns, and I don't think the opening up of the g-file is as meaningful. Secondly, his king is stuck in the center for the rest of the game, as you can see. Thirdly, I have better bishops. Fourthly, I can either play c5 and create a pawn majority, or I can open up the b file. Okay, f4. I think I have to take. I think there's no other move here. Obviously, allowing him to take would be bad, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. Now I am afraid of h4, h5. I have to admit. He should probably take with the king. His knight is needed in the center. And now he also has the move e5 in the future, which could be uncomfortable. Now, do I really want to release the tension on d4, d5 at all? If I take, he obviously takes either with the rook, with the queen, or with the knight. Okay, that makes me happy. Now his knight does have the d4 square, and he is able to challenge my bishop. But I could perhaps try to play knight f6, and my knight could challenge e4 and threaten knight h5, evicting the rook. Now knight f6, e5, knight takes on d5, so e5 doesn't work. Knight f6, if he takes on c6, I can then take on e4 and he can take on b7, in which case I lose a piece. I lose my rook, because knight f6, d takes, knight e4, c takes b, and my rook is attacked, my queen is attacked. If I play queen b8, pawn takes rook. If I play rook b8, pawn takes queen, rook takes queen, queen takes rook check, or even better, saves the queen. So knight f6, and if he takes on c6, I should probably recapture. But what if I take on d5 and play knight f6? Is that a sensible idea? So c takes d5. If e takes d5, I'm not worried about e5, which is good. I would hate to see e5 on the board. And if c takes d5, queen takes d5, or rook takes d5, I have a tempo on the pieces with knight f6. So c takes d, I'm expecting pawn takes d, knight f6, threatening knight e4, and my knight is good here. He has an isolated d pawn. Very often in the Russian system, white is going to have an isolated d pawn. Okay, I'm going to play that. Am I worried about rook c1? C takes d, rook c1. I have queen d8. I have queen d8, so I'm going to play that and play queen d8 if he plays rook c1. I don't think this is a mistake. This should be thematic for the variation. Although knight takes e2 was a good idea because it reinforces rook c1. Am I worried about rook takes d5, knight f6, rook c5? In which case my b7 pawn is attacked. I have to move my queen. I think I can play queen d8. No, queen takes b7. Queen takes b7, rook b8. Yeah, then my knight is double attacked. I like my bishop. It's better than his bishop. I like my pawn structure. It's better than his pawn structure. I don't like my weak queen side. I don't like the placement of my queen. I don't like... What else don't I like? I don't like the fact that his rook has c1 and that I have to defend passively now. If rook c1, I should probably play queen b8. Although that's not ideal either. I kind of want to get my queen into d6 and not care about the b pawn because rook b8, rook a2. The good news is now that his knight cannot return to c3 easily, because I can just exchange everything, I think. If knight c3 at any point, I'm just going to take, isolate his pawn, play a6 and rook c8, and put pressure on the newly created weakness on c3. Okay, rook takes. I'm happy that he didn't play rook c1. Now, if I play knight f6 and he plays rook c5, am I afraid of that? Knight f6, rook c5, I have queen d7. Knight f6, rook c5, queen d7. I am threatening knight takes e4 now, winning an exchange. He cannot return to d5 because my knight is defending d5. So, knight f6, rook c5, queen d7. What does he do there? Probably defend his e4 pawn, probably with f3. Then I'm going to play rook c8, rook f to c8, and try to put pressure on his position. Is there a better move though? Well, firstly, I don't like the fact that my knight is loose now. Any queen b5 double attacks my knight, so I want to move my knight away. I don't like the fact that I'm blocking my bishop with knight f6, but on the other hand, I cannot play knight b6 because a5 is coming. The only other candidate I see is rook d8, but then when I play knight f6, he can trade off the rooks, which I don't like, and take on b7. So I think I'm just going to stick with my plan of knight f6 and see what he does here. Now I have a potential for knight h5. I'm threatening the e4 pawn. I don't think rook e5 works. I think he should play rook c5. And then I should continue with queen d7. Yeah, okay, rook c5, queen d7 was my plan, and I'm going to stick to that. Knight c3 is possible now, but in that case I think I have rook h5, knight h5. If he takes, pawn takes, opening up the g file. I'm not sure that's worth an exchange, although he does have bishop d4 there. But then I guess I can just play f6 because I still have my e7 pawn. Yeah, I like my position. I think that white doesn't have enough compensation for the ruined pawn structure. My next two moves, rook fd8, rook ac8, yeah, probably a6 first or b6. And I mean, it should be equal. I know these positions are equal according to the engine, but I believe that I'm slightly better now because of the pressure on e4. I also don't believe in the move f3 here. It creates further weaknesses. Although it could be a good move. I always have knight h5. I shouldn't really be worried about f3 e5. And I mean, his rook has to be careful. Yeah, he has played f3. His rook has to be careful. Knight h5, he should probably go back to g1, in which case queen h3, and starting to look dangerous. Is he really going to sacrifice the exchange? So okay, knight h5, rook h5, gh5, f4 is the move to be afraid of. f5, I'm sorry. So I'm looking at knight h5, rook takes, g takes, f5. Then I have to play king h1, and after bishop h6, I have to play rook g8, and then he can take on f7. Oof, is that dangerous? That seems dangerous, I have to say. So maybe I should just prepare that first. I kind of want to play the move b6 to see where the rook goes. Because if I can get the rook of the 5th rank, then knight h5 is much more powerful. I'm afraid of that exchange sacrifice. I don't think I can allow that. So once again, knight h5, rook h5, gh5, f5, opening up the bishop, threatening bishop h6. I have to play king h8, then bishop h6. I have to play rook g8, then queen takes f7, triple attacks my pieces, and I cannot play e6 or e5 because my queen is hanging. So that's no good. So let's look at b6. b6, I'm guessing rook a5. Then I didn't improve my position at all, but at least I can then try something like rook d8. And if he ever plays e5 first, then knight h5 is a good move because there's no rook h5. His e5 pawn is blocking the path. So I kind of like b6, stopping him from attacking my b7 pawn. Okay, b6. The rook can go either to e4, e5, g5, or b5. If it moves away from the 5th rank, then knight h5. I'm going to play that and see what he does. This is an intermezzo move, which I'm using this in my games. I've read in, I don't remember the name of the book, but if you can find the move which helps go forward with your plan, which doesn't work at the moment, you should play it quickly if there are no severe consequences. And I don't think b6 is a bad move. It defends my b7 pawn, it chases away his rook, it gains a tempo. It might not be precise, but it's sort of a tricky move. If he fails to react properly to it, then I'm going to go forward with my plan of knight h5. So therefore the move makes sense. And from a practical perspective, that book, that author was really correct. I think these kinds of moves really should be played. Yeah, I don't think knight h5 worked. I'm going to check that with an engine after we finish playing the game. I think this was the first critical point in the game, whether knight h5 works or not. Yeah, by the way, I'm trying to get my classical lichess rating over 2100 by October 1st. I'm also trying to get my lichess tactics over 2300. I'm at around 2250 already, which is good. And I have to complete my goal until September 15th. Classical rating until October 1st. And I hope to do both. So I will play one classical training game every day. And I will solve tactics every day. Okay, he went to g5. Which helps reinforce his idea of my knight h5 not being possible. But let's just develop now. Let's just threaten his king. Rook d8 is a good move. I'm not afraid of f4. I'm not afraid of f5. I'm not afraid of e5. If e5, I can then go knight d5. e5, knight d5. Follow that up with e6 and the position is blocked. Am I afraid of h4, h5? Yes, I am. But there's not much I can do. I kind of want to play rook f to d8 and rook a to c8. Those seem like two fairly necessary moves. Does putting pressure on his position make any sense with queen c6? I doubt it. Queen c6, he can just play e5. So, rook f to d8, normal developing move. h4, rook a to c8, h5. Maybe then I could play knight h5. Okay, normal moves quickly. Normal moves quickly. Now if he moves his queen, I have queen d1 check for what it's worth. Not worth much, but this is going to be an aggressive position. No doubt about that. Oh, I should have played e6 first. f4 is a very dangerous threat because my f-pawn is pinned. Okay, I'm going to try to get the queens off. With queen d3. So yeah, f5, queen d3. I'm sorry, I keep saying f4. Queen d3 because he has to trade. His bishop is attacked. And then my f7 pawn is not pinned. So here I was afraid of f5. I play something. F takes g, h takes g, rook takes g, white wins the game. But now f5, queen d3. He has to exchange queen d3, rook d3. Although f5, queen d3, queen a2 seems very dangerous. Yeah, f5, queen d3, queen a2. If I take the bishop, then he can take on g6. It's still not check. I should have played e6 first. Still, this was a poor decision to play rook d8 first. So queen d3, I'm afraid of queen a2. That's the only move I'm afraid of. Queen d3, queen a2. Queen takes bishop, f takes g. I have to recapture. Rook takes g. And my bishop is hanging. Then I can play knight e8. So I don't think that works. Queen d3, queen a2. Queen takes bishop, f takes g. H takes g, rook takes g. Knight e8. Double attack on the bishop, but not a triple attack. That should work. So I'm going to play that. If he trades the queens off, then he has to waste another tempo on moving the bishop. And also, okay, good, I'm happy. He didn't play queen a2. And also, he should probably play bishop d4, but I'm going to play rook a to d8. And it's going to be a double attack on the bishop. If I can win two pieces for the rook, that's wonderful. Now I've stopped his attack. The f-pawn is not pinned anymore. fg, hg, and he does have h4, h5, but that's quite slow. Whoa. Okay. A nice intermezzo. I don't want to take the bishop now, obviously, because I lose my g7 bishop. So I'm just going to recapture. And I'm going to recapture with the h-pawn, I think. I think I do want to recapture with the f-pawn because I want my king to have the f7 square. Yeah, I want my king to have f7. And I want to be able to play e6 at some point to stop f4, f5 again, and to play king f7. Because once I play king f7, h4, h5 can be met with knight h5. And my pawn isn't pinned. Now his bishop is hanging. Bishop d4, rook d8. Probably bishop c3. Yeah, I like my position. His queenside pawns are weaker than mine. And I finally have an active rook myself. And since my pawns are on dark squares and his b pawn is on a dark square as well, he has targets, I have targets, and he really doesn't because of this structure with b6. I'm up on time, 4 minutes. That's never happened. I'm always lower on time in training games. Funnily enough, I'm not lower on time in tournament games for some reason. I think that when I'm talking, I'm using way more time than when I'm just thinking. So I've noticed one thing when I play a game, a training game, which I'm not recording, I play better. So this is a harder version, a sort of hard mode training because I have to talk, which is what makes it good. That means that once I sit down on the board on a tournament, it's going to be easier to play. Okay, he is below 10 minutes. That's good news. I think f takes g was correct to give my king the f7 square. I don't think e5 works. I'm just going to take the bishop, and then if he takes my knight, f takes e takes f6. And this game, we are playing a 30 plus 5, so there's no 15-second increment. It's going to be, if we get in time trouble, it's going to be time trouble. It's going to be blitz mode. So I need to think about that before I get into time trouble. And this is just about to get tricky. Maybe he should play king f2. I haven't considered that move. King f2 is a good move. What do I do then? King f2. I think I can just play e5. King f2, e5. If rook takes e5, I have knight h5, attacking the rook, attacking the other rook. And if I can play e5, so this is the move I'm looking at. His knight doesn't have a good square. His bishop doesn't have a good square. Okay. And he doesn't have f4. But this way, he doesn't have 4 either. So what's the threat with bishop f4? I don't see it. I don't like bishop f4 because now he doesn't have f4. So rook a to d8 makes sense. Defending my rook, threatening rook d1 if that's a threat. It's a sensible move. If bishop c7, just rook d7. e5 now, just knight d5. And I think I should be better. Rook e5, I play king f7. Bishop e5, I'm not afraid of at all. I wish something like knight takes e4 worked, but it really doesn't work. The rooks are defended far too many times. I mean, who is better here? I think I am better. I have a better pawn structure. And I'm looking forward to rook b3, putting pressure on the pawn. If bishop e5, knight e8, bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop to stop f5 and h5, and this pawn becomes indefensible. So I like rook b3. I think it's about time to start poking at his weaknesses. Although after rook b3, he does have rook b5 defending, but then I take on b5, a takes b5, and his b5 pawn is weak, and I can get my other rook into d3 and b3. Let me know how you like the Smyslov variation in the Russian system of the Grünfeld. Okay, he defends the pawn in advance. That's a good plan. Has to be sensible. Although now I can double my rooks with rook a3. He moves the pawn. There's no other way to defend. Rook a1 check, king f2, rook d1, and I have a lot of checks here which seem dangerous. Rook a3, a5, and I will just ignore that. Rook a1 check, king f2, rook d1, rook d1. What does he do? What does he do? What does he do? Probably just rook g1 defends everything. I kind of like that plan though. I also could consider rook b3. So what's better, rook a3 or rook b3? Rook b3, how does he defend his b4 pawn? The only defense I see is a rook b5. Okay, so rook b3. Rook b5 is the only defense, and I go for the same plan. And then he doesn't have rook g1. Oh, he does. He would have to take with the knight. But rook b3, if he plays bishop to d2, I have rook b1 check. Then he has to play something like knight c1, which is horrible, or bishop c1. So rook b3 or rook a3. And I desperately want to open my bishop up. Rook b3, rook b5 or b5. If b5, then rook a3 should just win. Okay, I'm going to play rook b3, see what he does. I think I should be better here. I'm putting a lot of pressure on his position. I have threats, he doesn't. I'm up on time. Maybe rook a3 was more precise. I have to check that as well. Yeah, I like my position. I think he is in trouble because of the king, and the king is too unsafe on the e1 square. Okay. So b5. How does he defend after rook a3? How does he defend? I really don't see a way to defend the pawn. I don't see a defense to that. Rook e5, king f7, bishop c7, rook d7, h4, I take on a4, knight d4, e4 doesn't work. Yeah, I I don't see a way to defend this pawn, so I'm just going to play this. And if I can get that pawn off the board and still have threats of rook a1 check and all that stuff, should be better. And the great thing is that his knight doesn't have an easy way into the game after I take on a4. He doesn't have a check because I have rook a1, so it's still with tempo. And then his knight doesn't have the d5 square because I can just take that. Yeah, his rooks are all the way over on the king side in the attack, but it seems they are necessary here. And however this game finishes, I don't know if I'll win, if I'll draw, if I'll lose. Anything can happen still. I think that the Smyslov variation is a great way to fight the Russian system. And as you can see, you do have this open g-file stuff, but there were no threats. The whole game there were no threats. I was the only one who could have messed up my position by playing knight h5, which would have been a bad move, I believe. So I really think that the Smyslov against the Russian is great. And I hope you found the weapon, a new weapon to play in the Grünfeld. Okay, he does go aggressive now, but I believe just knight takes h5 should be fine if he goes for that. So I'm just going to take h5, knight h5. If bishop e5 and he takes, I have a tempo on the rook. So yeah, I'm not convinced with this h4 idea. If bishop e5, I don't have rook a1 check, that's true. But I can probably play something like rook b4 and then go for rook b1. Pawn up on time, almost 7 minutes. This should be a very good position. Although after bishop e5, I might also try knight e8, just challenge the diagonal. And then if bishop g7, knight g7, it does also stop f4, f5 and h4, h5, because once again, I can capture here. So bishop e5 is the trickiest move, in my opinion. And yeah, this isn't tricky. This isn't tricky at all. So he wants to play after knight h5, rook h5, gh5. He wants to play either bishop h6 or bishop e5, winning my bishop. But I don't have to react to that. Or do I play king f7? Just king f7, defending everything. Yeah, king f7 he can take. Okay, yeah, I misjudged this position. Knight h5, rook h5, gh5, bishop e5, or bishop h6 both win my bishop. But I can just allow h takes g. I don't think I'm afraid of that. So rook a1 check, king f2, king d1, h takes g. I can play h6. And the rook is almost trapped. The only square it has is e5. And then it becomes dangerous for him. Okay, so I cannot take on h5. That much is clear. When he takes on g6, I'm going to have to play h6. That's also clear. So rook a1 check, king f2, rook d1. What do I have there? Rook a1 check, king f2, rook d1, h takes g, rook f1 check, king g2, h6 attacking the rook, and then I could play rook e1 attacking the knight. If the knight moves, he should be in trouble. Is he then threatening bishop takes h6? I don't think he is, so I'm just going to play that. And hope for the best. I'm giving the pawn back, but I don't see a better way to defend. Maybe rook d1 is not precise now. Getting both of my rooks off the back rank. Rook d1. Maybe I should play rook a2 here. Okay, I messed this up. Okay, rook d1. I see a move. I can get my other rook into e1. So rook f1 check, king g2, rook a to e1, attacking the knight. That should be fine for me. If h takes g, just h6 gains the tempo on the rook, and I have time for rook f1 check, rook e1. The only square is e5. Oh, but I missed that. I missed that rook e5. And in this variation where he takes on g6, I don't have king f7. I don't have king f7. What do I do now? Oof. Oof, he didn't see it. Why didn't he see rook e5? Okay, don't push your luck, man. Stepan, don't push your luck. Just play normal moves. Now, he's not threatening to take on f6. That's nothing. He's threatening to take on h6, but I can then play an intermezzo. Rook takes e4, knight takes e4. So bishop h6, knight takes e4, f takes e4, bishop takes here. And is that dangerous? I guess it is, but what can you do? So let's continue with my plan. Rook f1 check. Because I don't have to react to this. He can take, and I can just ignore that. If he takes my bishop, I take here. If he ever plays rook h3, rook h7 check, I just take on g6. And I desperately want to get my bishop on this diagonal for a while now. So some discovery with the knight. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's some risky business. Okay, calculation needed. Yeah, I think I'm just going to win the f3 pawn. I don't see a problem with that. So just rook takes f3. He doesn't have any nice discoveries with the bishop. And if he's uncareful, I might even checkmate him. I mean, I do have two rooks, right, and the bishop. If he ever goes to the dark squares, that's suicidal. And he basically has to. Oof, whoa, come on, man. Come on, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Is this checkmate? No, he can cover with the bishop, rook, or pawn. Unless I can double check. But how do I double check here? Okay, knight h5, the most natural move. Knight h5, check, bishop. Oh yeah, but then he loses a lot more. And also, no, I shouldn't play rook d1 check. So okay, knight h5, just play sensible moves. Knight h5, he's going to cover with the bishop. I'm going to take with check, he's going to take with his rook. Then I'm going to take, although knight h5, bishop covers. I could just take immediately on g3. So knight h5, bishop e5, knight takes rook. If knight takes rook, I play rook d1 check. If bishop takes bishop, I take knight takes f5 check. So okay, let's go. Because if bishop e5, rook e5, this move, rook takes e7, is a threat of checkmate. Well, I would play bishop f8, but then g7 and checkmate soon to follow. Okay, he moves the king. That sounds and looks really suspicious. Okay, what's the best move here? Do I really want to take the exchange, or do I have something better? Knight takes rook, knight takes rook. I was going to play rook c1 to stop his king from escaping here and threatening rook d3 check, but then his king still has the e6 square. So is it better to check first? So just rook d1 check. Knight takes rook, knight takes rook. I can take on f3. Is that good? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take the rook because I don't see a better thing to do here than win material. He didn't take with the knight, which is strange, so now I have extra options. I think I'm just going to take on f3 to make sure his rook is inactive, and then he's basically forced to trade off the rook. If he doesn't, he loses 2 pieces for the rook as well. Okay, I'm just going to play good moves quickly here. Maybe rook takes f3 is not the most precise, but... Okay, I don't understand this move. Okay, yeah, let's trade off the rooks. I don't believe this move of his. And let's just play king f8. Get my king out of harm's way. Although knight here checks me. So how do I stop knight here? I like rook a4. Although then, yeah, okay, this diagonal is covered. I don't want to allow the knight going anywhere. If knight here, yeah, I cannot take it because his bishop is there. What am I talking about? I'm so weak sometimes. Okay, I have to play quickly. Okay, I win this one. Maybe I should not have allowed that, which is stupid. Ah, I'm so weak sometimes. No, what? Ah, I gave up an exchange. Come on. Why am I so stupid sometimes? Oh my god. Okay, take up the most active diagonal. And this is now a draw, obviously, because I lost an exchange. Ah. Great job. Great job, Semyon. Although I should be winning this now. No, oh come on, I misclicked. I'm going to try for a take back because he might accept. Wait, I misclicked. I put my bishop on d3 instead of on d6 instead of c7. Oh, he took it anyway. Okay, good. What's going on here? I'm trying to... Okay, king takes c7. Thanks. Yeah, and this is just a draw. Yeah, I just blundered an exchange. And I'm going to take the queens, and it's going to be a draw. Good game. Yeah, sorry about that. Why did I blunder the exchange? I didn't think at all. Okay, let me turn on the analysis board. It says the page that you blah 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 is asking you to leave. Why wouldn't I leave? Okay, leave page. Bishop g4 is an inaccuracy, the engine says, which is just... It's a theoretical line. Okay. My PC might freeze, let me warn you about that, because I'm using the engine. Rook g1, queen c8, this is all theory. Rook g3, c6, a4. Let's see. Takes is best. Knight d7 is fine. That's the most commonly played theoretical move. Now let's just see this position. Just a moment. Rook a d8. And I'm so much better here. Okay, b4. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I should have played king f7 immediately, but yeah. I'm just winning here. -3. Rook takes a4 is a mistake. King f7 once again. That's why I played f6. F takes g. Yeah, and I messed up into a draw. This variation was just bad. But yeah, king e3 is a bad move. King d4 -6. Oh, come on. I had -6 and blundered into a draw. And at which point did I blunder? This is still completely winning. Yeah, just allowing this check. Oh, come on. Yeah. Sorry about the blunder at the end, guys. I hope you liked the game. The point was shown. We wanted to play a variation in the Russian system of the Grünfeld. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, if you would like to play a training game against me, follow the link in the description below. See you later. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.